Okay, hi everybody. This is going to be part one of repairing the front air intake tubes. There's two, just so you know where we're at, there's the handlebars. There's two tubes. There's a tube here. There's a tube here on this side. What's happened is I checked the ski after about 10 hours and it's my first Ultra. Anyways, they were, the hose is hanging off the bottom. If you saw my other video yesterday when I was using that inspection camera, the hose on the bottom of this has just split away. It's just hanging by a thread, like maybe if the hose is this big, this much is hanging on. So I guess, so anyways, what do the hoses do? Well, this hose here comes across and goes down and gives air into the hull on that side. And this hose crisscrosses, this hose here goes on the other side. Let's see if you can see my finger. So they feed air into the hull. And so, yeah, they're split and they're kind of detached. And, you know, if I took a big wave over the bow, and if it found its way in here, there's a recall plate here, we call it, that goes on the front. I've just taken that off. That's what we call the recall plate. Well, it goes this way. Which way do we go here? Something like that. Yeah, that's how it goes. And it's held on in these serrated screws, so you just pry it off gently, both sides. That's called the recall plate. You can run without it. I did. It just gives more air into here, but I didn't really notice a difference. And if you take a wave over the bow or submerge the front end of the ski momentarily, you'll get a lot more water in there. Where does the air come from? It comes in the sides. When this recall plate's on, it comes in the sides. So anyways, to repair these hoses, I guess this is part one. I'll take this off and this and the other bolt on the back. Take these sides off and probably take this off as well. Undo this, maybe lean it back. That'll be in part two because it's the first time I've taken it apart. And then I guess I'll have to drill out these rivets. I'll do one side at a time and pull the hose out. There's the hose there. There's the hose there. And pull the hose out of the ski. Pull this up and pull the entire hose out. And how am I going to repair it? Well, I went to the hardware store and got some duct tape, some epoxy, a whole bunch of different hoses the guy gave me just to test. Something like this might work. Cut it, epoxy it together, I'm not sure. Anyways, there's also back hoses if you're new to the Ultra. These feed, well, these extract air, I guess, and they go down into the hull. I cut mine off because after a few hours they were split and hanging. So if you look in there, you can see right into my hull. I don't recommend cutting them. It may help get some of the heat out quicker. But if you ever flip this ski upside down, you could sink it. You really have to flip the ski over in a big hurry. So I may put some short extensions on, maybe 1 foot down, just so if I ever flip the ski, water wouldn't go in there like nobody's business, and it will right now. So that's the price to pay. You'll get the heat out quicker. I doubt you'll notice any performance gains, but as the air comes in theory, it comes out here. So after I've run the ski for the day or a few hours, I put my hands here and I can feel the heat coming out. Before I couldn't when the tubes were down into the hull. But for some reason in 2013, I don't know about the other years, but they gave us junk hoses. And I mean junk with a capital J. There's no reason. I mean, I take good care of the ski. It's not beat on or anything. So anyways, that's my plan. I don't want these hoses torn at the top as they are, because I want maximum air to go down into the hull. Obviously, another issue is if I took some water in here, a big splash of water, obviously the recall plate's on, the water wouldn't just go down the hoses and go into the hull and go out by the bilge pump. It would, in theory, spray water all over my ECU, my wiring. And if you're in salt water, you definitely want to check your hoses, because the water would go in here and it wouldn't go all the way down. to where that hose is and go into the hall and not bother anything. Some of it would be spraying, falling down all over your electronics. And so check your hoses. These front ones for sure. The back ones, there's really no electronics there, and it's not as critical, but be aware of it. And so anyways, that's part one. Let me get things apart and get a bit of a plan here, and then I'll do part two.